Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Assume that's lunch after this, so just a little bit of patience listening to what we're going to talk about the ocean. I'm the co-founder and CEO of archiREEF, and I'm here today to remind us why we should not forget about the ocean, which is difficult to forget in this venue, like it's right there. But when we talk about Hong Kong, most of the people would immediately think of this, like a densely populated concrete jungle. But for me, this is Hong Kong. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and I grew up in the New Territories since the 90s. And it was very obvious for me that I would get a diving license at some point, and I did when I was doing my college. And it is me, and this photo was taken in Sharp Island, in Sai Kung, one of my favorite dive sites in Hong Kong, where it's amazing to see, like you can see how shallow the corals community is. And you can see different little critters. And that's me, what I was doing in the water, like holding a camera, looking for little critters that we'll be able to find. It's not the best quality, but these photos were all taken in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is incredibly biodiverse, accounting for only less than 0.05% of China's water. 25% of the biodiversity can be found in Hong Kong. It's pretty cool. And as a diver, I dive around the world, mostly in apex regions. What is one of the most traumatic experience I've ever had in my last diving experience in like 8 years? One of that was actually in Hong Kong, and this was also taken in Sai Kung, where I was seeing this small patch of coral community disappearing in just 2 months. And that was an epiphany moment for me to realize that climate change is real, and it is happening faster than ever before. So right now, climate change is on everybody's agenda, and we all know that we need to take care of this. And a lot of the climate actions are focusing on the green, focusing on changing land use, afforestation, or even food alternatives, which is great. And we need different solutions to tackle this such a big problem. But what we have been ignoring is what we have in the ocean. So I'm here today to give you a few more reasons why we need to shift more focused and to take more action into the ocean. So to start with, before the Industrial Revolution, the ocean was actually a net source of carbon dioxide because of the immense biodiversity and the animals that live inside the water. But because of the increasing atmospheric carbon dioxide driven by human activities, it actually turned our ocean into the largest carbon sink today. The ocean right now absorbs more than 23% of the annual emission of this carbon dioxide in the air. And for every breath that we take, more than half of the oxygen comes from the ocean. And because of the other impact that we're seeing because of climate change is the increasing temperature. And just the top few meters of the entire ocean alone, that captures as much as the heat that a planet's entire atmosphere can absorb. And as I've mentioned earlier, the ocean is home to 250,000 species. And that is only 10% of what we know. And in fact, we know more about about the space than we do to the ocean. And 25% of the marine life specifically depends on coral reefs. The United Nations, for example, has already incorporated ecosystem restoration in the Sustainable Development Goals, 13 climate action, 14 life below water, and 17 partnerships for the goals. And that's also one of the reasons why we are here today. And starting from last year, 2021, the United Nations has also declared a stronger call for action on ecosystem restoration. And this is the critical moment that we need to take action before it turns to the tipping point and it's too late for us to do anything. At archiREEF, we are primarily focusing on coral reefs because they're under tremendous pressure. In fact, we have already lost 50% of the coral reefs since 1950. And we're expected to lose up to 90% if there's no action taken. What does that mean is that reef tourism will disappear along with the reefs. The fishing industry will also suffer because of the loss of biodiversity. Coastal communities will be endangered will be threatened from the likes of tsunamis. And apart from the ecological benefits that we can have, the value of coral reefs is also tremendous. Just one number alone, coral reefs provides food to feed 1.2 billion people globally. And the economic value behind this is that how do we make sure that we protect these coral communities, restore them, then also unlock the billions market? Coral restoration projects have been conducted all around the world in the last few decades. One of the examples is that people are putting these traditional concrete blocks in the water and just plant the corals directly on top. Precast concrete structures have also been made to enhance coral survivorship. Biorocks that accelerate coral accretion has also been deployed in the water. But all of these solutions are struggling to ensure long-term survivorship. And that is where archiREEF comes in. We have created the world's first 3D printed reef tiles entirely made from clay. Right now, with our pilot study, with 8 years of research behind this and 2 years of deployment in Hoi Ha Marine Park, we're still securing 98% survivorship, which is at least 4 times higher than the traditional methods that I've just mentioned. How it works? We use our algorithm, take into account of the local water conditions and also the local biological data, feed into the algorithm, and then we design and create the top layer of the reef tiles that's best designed and customized for the local water conditions. We then print the reef tiles, put them into the water, fire them first, and then put them into the water and create the structures and the substrate that coral reefs have ever, the strongest artificial substrate that coral reefs have ever experienced. And this is how it looks in the water. This is me deploying these reef structures. It's very handy. Just a single diver certified alone will be able to deploy this structure in the water. The first day that we deploy this, immediately we're attracting 2 cardinal fish on the reef tiles. And here's the landscape that we are creating on the water. We're building the foundation for coral reefs to thrive and grow. And this is actually my favorite photo. It's a mom. I've seen her at least 3 times around our deployment site. I've seen her sleeping near the reef tiles. I've seen her catching prey under the reef tiles. And this photo was taken when she was laying eggs under the reef tiles. And that's what we meant. We are not only creating these artificial structures, we are also creating this biodiverse ecosystem that will be able to support the holistic well-being of our humanity as well. Right now, we're using nature to conserve nature. And what we're doing is, as said earlier, we're only providing structures to kickstart the recovery of the natural ecosystems. Some of the examples that we're of our clients, we're working with corporations and government entities across Asia and the Middle East, Hong Kong and the Middle East. So for example, we have a collaboration projects with Ocean Park and Sino Group and also Sunnat and AFCD in Hong Kong. Just very recently, this month, we are launching this first cross-sectorial coral restoration project in collaboration with Ocean Park and the Sino Group in Deepwater Bay. And with the 2 years of success that we have demonstrated in Hong Kong in the last 2 years, that has also opened a door for us to enter Abu Dhabi, one of the 7 Emirates in the Middle East, in the UAE. And we have been very lucky that we're lucky enough to receive a spectrum of recognition. Our first 3D printed reef tiles has been awarded as a gold award in the Geneva Innovations 2022, so this year. We have been recognized as one of the top innovators for the Coastal Tourism Challenge by the World Economic Forum. Just last week, we are very lucky to be listed under Forbes 100 to watch in Asia. And behind this here's the founding team. And myself, Vriko Yu, I'm the co-founder and CEO of archiREEF. I'm also a PhD candidate at the University of Hong Kong and an education committee at WWF. Along with Dr. David Baker, who is also a tenured professor at the University of Hong Kong, we provide the strongest, 8 years of research experience behind the company, forming the scientific foundation that support our solutions. The other co-founder, Dennis, as our CCO, brings in years of startup experience and helping us to commercialize this research project into a commercial product and projects. And we have been very lucky that we have been featured in global media outlets such as the CNN, the National Geographic, and the Euronews. My last word here today is restoration is only part of the larger equation, and we need stakeholders from all walks of life to make this possible. And when I mean stakeholders, I literally mean all of us here on the stage. So yeah, thank you again, and we'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Vriko. I have goosebumps. As an avid diver myself, it's wonderful to see that something so amazing has been done to save our oceans.